So very interested to see exactly how this handles it. It's testing out that 8.5 inches of ground clearance. And yeah, oh boy, here we go. I feel, yeah, it's picking up some tires, but again, it is keeping traction going with the H-Trac all-wheel drive and with those Continental cross-contact tires. Hey gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Corey, and this is the all-new 2026 Hyundai Palisade XRT Pro, the new off-road trim of the new flagship for the Hyundai brand. What makes this thing off-road ready, and is it any good off-road? Well, luckily for you and myself, Hyundai flew me out here to California to do just that. Yes, gearheads, a huge thank you to Hyundai for having me out to Sonoma in California to test this off-road and see exactly what it's capable of. But first, I want to talk about what motivates this, because we are seeing an evolution of off-road and big three-row SUVs alike, all going and ditching their V6 platforms for a turbo 4 or some form of hybrid powertrain. But we still get a tried and true V6 here. Interestingly though, this does not have a carryover V6 under the hood. It is a new for the Palisade 3.5 liter V6, making 287 horsepower and 260 pound-feet of torque. That means its displacement is very much like the Honda Passport and Honda Pilot, and it is very class competitive. It also, in this XRT trim, as you would expect, put power down to all four wheels via their H-Trac all-wheel drive, and it does that through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Closing the hood, you can tell this ain't your typical Palisade. All new design and sheet metal. It is bigger, wider, and bolder across the board, and I really want to talk about that style. Yes, the entire Palisade lineup wears this new boxier styling across the board, and I think it wears it quite well. It really wears it very well here in this XRT trim, because it gives off a boxy, rugged appearance that absolutely works. And you can see we get this tall vertical LED light signature right here, but given that this is an XRT, yes, we get some recovery points in red up front here on the hood, or on the front bumper, which is a prerequisite for an off-roader. The entire lineup was designed with this XRT Pro in mind. So the vehicle itself has a longer wheelbase and shorter front and rear overhangs, which is only exemplified by the fact that this XRT Pro gets additional ground clearance. As we come in closer though, you can see we also have upfitted wheels and tires with these Continental cross-contact 255/60 R18 Traction Plus technology off-road ready tires. We'll see exactly what those are like here in just a moment. As we pull out and take a look at the entire side of it, you can see we have that black plastic lower cladding, black contrasting trim on the mirrors and the door handles, and then an overall boxy look that is just so very in right now. It is the avant-garde theme across crossovers in this segment and practically everywhere. As we move around to the back here, you can see the taillights echo those LED running lights up front. Very tall light signature. We get Palisade spelled out across the back there, and more brightly colored extraction points here with these hooks. We get the XRT Pro badge on this one, and again, just leaning into that boxy look. So these are different bumpers, front and rear, than what you would see on the non-XRT Pros. You can see we still get a power operated hatch. That is almost a non-negotiable feature in 2026 model year vehicles. So that is very nice. And there is tons of space in here for all three rows and behind all three rows. You can see this XRT Pro does get manually folding third row seats. Upper trims do get power folding rear seats that slide forward and back to increase cargo room. Underneath here, you can see, yes, we get our window sticker, but we do get some additional storage, which is very welcome in this class. You can see we can power release the second row seats from right here, but they do not power extend back upwards. And then because we do have a power hatch, you can push that button right there to give it a quick close. As we move to the inside of this one, you can see what really sets this XRT Pro apart from prior XRT only models. XRT Pro is meant to focus on capability first and the look secondary, but that does not mean they skimped on interior features and comfort. And given that the Palisade is the flagship of the Hyundai brand, this one is not decontented. It has all the amenities you would want without paying a big sacrifice. When purchasing it, you can see we get power windows and mirrors, all those controls here. No memory seats on this one, but as we take a look at the seats, you do get power seats with two-way lumbar. They are the black H-Tex, and they do get this unique pattern in the back of them that you will only get on XRT models. This is a dark interior. It's black on black. But when you get inside, you can see we have the fully digital gauge cluster, which we did not have on prior XRT Palisades. And we have a new feature in the camera, the ground view, which we will show you a little bit later when we are actually driving it. So that is very welcome. We have a new design theme throughout. You will see it's kind of an inverse of what we saw on Ioniq 9. And it has a very upscale kind of premium look. All the gauge screens are recessed behind this big overhang, making it very easy to see. You can see they did keep physical controls for everything, but XRT Pro now gets ventilated seats. The prior Palisade XRT only got heated seats, so that is a very nice feature. You can see we get this really cool center console. We have your wireless charger here, 100 watt max charge points. We get a little storage down here in this pass-through that is open. You can see we get this center console with just a single opening lid. Top trims do get a split opening lid. And then we have some off-road controls over here. We have our camera, we have our downhill descent control. It is a little bit of a reach. It'll be interesting to see what that's like a little bit later when we get to driving it. You get the storage shelf here and a decent sized glove box all the way around. Single sunroof up here with a manual shade. No real complaints there. And then coming to me, yeah, plenty of headroom. This is a big boxy vehicle. As we move to the back seats, the decontenting is no more back here as well. So you get some nice up-level features like built-in sunshades to the back windows, which we really like, built-in cup holders in the door, padded armrest, your mirror controls, reclining bucket seats here. So you get that. And then my favorite thing as a father of a child still in a car seat, the access to the third row is not hampered by putting a car seat in place. You can see those seats retain their shape. We have 3 across seating back here. And while we're talking about car seats, we do have lower latch points on the 2 outboard seats. That center seat is a little on the narrow side. We'll crawl back there in just a moment, but climbing in the second row, just gobs of space back here. Very roomy. You can see we have some power on the back of the center console. We have a pull-out drawer for additional storage, more 100 watt power there, mat pockets, all the necessary storage places. We do have air vents in the ceiling, which is very nice. Tri-zone controls right here in the middle, so you don't have to pick which side of the vehicle you're going to ride on to be able to keep comfortable back here or keep from bothering whoever's riding up front. Can see we have safe exit assist with a blind spot warning style light, which is very nice. But we're going to go ahead and push that button now and climb into the third row seat to talk about space back here in the third row. So taking a look at me, I can get behind this seat no problem. But yeah, there will be some negotiation, I'm sure. With the second row passenger, we get some additional cup holders back here, more 100 watt power, and some speakers with a much improved overall rear window. That is enough of a tour of this one. Let's hop behind the wheel and see how she drives. Now we are here behind the wheel, actually going to set off in this one. They have a preset off-road course for us, and that's where I can talk about my experience thus far today in the Palisade. We've been driving around in the top trim Calligraphy, which is the most luxurious, it is the nicest, and this XRT Pro is not a decontented version at all, which we talked about as we toured around this one, which really kind of appeals more to me. I we previously tested the Outgoing XRT, and I just felt like it was missing too much to even call itself a Palisade in the flagship sense of the Hyundai brand. I think this XRT Pro is still very befitting of that. I'm getting my ventilated seat is keeping me cool, which is actually quite great here in this summer experience out in California. Another thing I've noticed about this is even though this is the XRT Pro, it's got a good ride. We're driving here on these gravel roads and it is still very smooth. It is a unibody construction vehicle, so that means it's more car-like in its ride to begin with versus something truck-based like maybe a 4Runner. So I am impressed with the overall ride, but I suspect most people are going to be doing this with their XRT Pro. Mostly it's going to be an on-road vehicle, which speaks again to the fact that we are not decontented here. We still get some luxuries and we still get some good different drive modes. We get good traction, we get increased ground clearance with 8.5 inches of ground clearance, which helps with your approach and departure and breakover angles. Though we do not know the breakover angle, we do know the increased approach and departure, which is on par with some TRD off-road vehicles we've tested lately. Interestingly enough, this is still a soft roader in the sense that there is no factory underbody protection. They did say that they are looking into aftermarket or after purchase upgrade options for that fact. So yeah, you're not going to want to take this on anything too technical where you could potentially puncture or damage something in your drivetrain or your fuel tank underneath. But again, this does have about an inch more ground clearance. And with those Continental cross contact tires, you should have more traction when the surface underneath you gets less than ideal, which I have been told is exactly what this course is going to do to us. We were also told that this is a more narrow course for this larger vehicle. Yes, the Palisade increased in all dimensions across the board. So yes, taking it off the beaten path could be a slight problem given its sheer size, but I do like that we have additional cameras here in this one, including that new underbody camera, which isn't really an underbody camera. You can see from the warnings on the screen, it says ground view is not a live video. Basically, the system remembers what you drove over and at the speed in which you are going, kind of simulates that screen. But you can see my big problem with the screens and the cameras. If you get going too fast, the Hyundai lawyers still have ruined it because they go away at speed. So it really does keep you crawling these hills at a slow rate of speed if you want that increased visibility that the cameras provide, which is a slight miss for me. I wish those cameras would stay on, but again, I guess it does encourage more slow, methodical driving in situations such as this. Another thing I want to talk about while we're climbing this hill is the powertrain, the 3.5 liter V6. The outgoing model had a 3.8 liter V6. And in our time carving hills and canyon roads in the calligraphy earlier today, we felt it to be a little on the anemic side. It just needs a little bit more. These are currently on sale, the gas-powered versions, but the hybrid version is coming at a later date and may be the one to go with given my past experience with their 1.6 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder hybrid powertrain. Okay, gearheads, coming to you from the editing bay on this one. And yes, I know I just said 1.6 turbo hybrid. I am just making the point that the hybrids I've sampled in the past from Hyundai that do use their 1.6 turbo 4 are really good. The even better news is we're getting a more potent hybrid powertrain with this new Palisade. It's going to be using their 2.5 liter 4-cylinder and going to deliver a whopping 329 horsepower and 339 pound-feet of torque. So that really does seem like the one that you want, especially given the fact that everyone on this media drive was kind of saying, yeah, power's a little on the low side. Now, back to the drive. As we head down this hill, I can talk about downhill descent control. I'm currently on the brake. but if I let off, I can feel it is doing the work itself. I can turn that off with a button that is way across the dash over there. That is not my favorite. Shows that designers still kind of lead the charge here with overall interior functionality. That button, I have to lean forward to touch it. Same with the camera button. It is just a bit too far away from me here in the current situation. I wish it were here on the center console. I get it, style is nice and great and all, but that button is just a little bit too far away from me. I can override it by giving it some acceleration myself or giving it some brake input myself, but it is just a little far away to turn on or off in the midst of doing off-road stuff such as this. Here's an instance where that camera really does come in handy. All I can see is my hood, but I can see on the cameras exactly what's in front of me. So I do appreciate the additional cameras that we get here on the XRT Pro. And I'm just gonna let the vehicle take us down itself. This is downhill descent control. And yeah, it's doing it all by itself. Very nice, very smooth operation. So I like that a lot for sure. And then just a little bit of throttle kind of overrides it and gets us moving again. So it isn't a all or nothing system. You can kind of play with it just a little bit from driver input. Otherwise, the steering in this, it is very light. Maybe too light in some of these situations, given just how narrow this course is and how wide this vehicle is. But so far, I don't feel like I'm in any peril. I'm just maybe a little concerned that I may touch something, tap something along the sides here that perhaps those who lent me this vehicle may not love so much. We do have HTRAC all-wheel drive. This is a front drive biased platform, but again, we do have power being sent to all four wheels as needed. And here we've got a spotter right in front of me, making sure I keep the right line. We're gonna let the vehicle do it itself as we come down. Yep, coming down, coming down, coming down. I decided to brake there just because, oh my goodness, this is tight. This is very tight right here. Yeah, that spotter was necessary for this sharp turn at the bottom of that steep hill. Again, speaking to the overall size of this Palisade XRT, it is a large vehicle. I saw one in a parking lot next to a Jeep Grand Cherokee L, and it does dwarf that Grand Cherokee L. It is a large vehicle for sure, but that translates to good interior proportions too, as you saw as we were taking a tour of the inside. On this next obstacle, I was told mud mode for the new terrain modes and just give it constant acceleration as we go up this hill, just because of how slippery the ground is underneath us. But you can see, yeah, we're getting good traction at all four corners. Yeah, no problem. So that really speaks to the tire choice on this one and the all-wheel drive system, as well as the drive and terrain modes that you have here. I can very much see how the elevation change, the steep hill, and the loose gravel, loose pavement, loose whatever underneath us, dirt, could put lesser systems in a little bit of a bind. We're turning, we're going up. Here though, didn't even hiccup. It took it like a champ, and I need my cameras back. That is frustrating that the cameras disappear at too high of speeds, which, I mean, if they just gave us a couple more miles per hour, I'm doing 7 and the cameras go away. That is frustrating to say the least. I really want those cameras. I mean, 7 miles per hour. I don't feel like that's a big ask. So they give and they take away here on this Palisade XRT. It is a shame. I really, really wish those cameras stayed on at a little bit faster speed. But anyway, back to driving. Yes, the traction is good. These tires are a good choice. I've not really felt like the vehicle has struggled in any way, shape, or form. Even the power has been really good. The gearing in off-road settings, I think, has really kept the power band from feeling anemic or misplaced in this one. I haven't been like, come on, more power. yet in this one. Keep in mind though that this was a Hyundai designed off-road course. So there is that. But again, talking about who's going to be buying this and what they're going to be doing when they drive it is mostly going to be exploring campsites, maybe pulling a trailer to the campsite, because all Palisades, all gas-powered Palisades now have a 5,000 pound tow rating, and they have the first ever for a Hyundai vehicle integrated hitch receiver. So all of that is new towards this Palisade, kind of opening up exactly what you are able and capable of doing in your Hyundai crossover. Downhill descent control. Again, this is a very steep area. I'm looking down in the gorge down here, but again, the Palisade XRT Pro really has kept me very comfortable in here. I talked about my ventilated seats that I am loving right now. That was a very welcome plus to the prior generation's XRT only, so I really do like that. I like the added benefit of the cameras, 360 cameras versus the federally mandated rear backup camera only. So they have done a lot right in this one. And then again, they made it big enough that all 3 rows are quite comfortable. So it is making you perhaps question buying that X Pro Kia Telluride that shares a chassis and platform with the outgoing Palisade. This really is the new kid on the block when it comes to big Korean crossovers, and from my experience here, I can say it's a really good one and will make a lot of shoppers very happy. It's a warm one. It says 103 here on my screen. So in this little bit of articulation, they asked me to put it in sand mode, which does disable downhill descent control. Those things kind of work against each other. We are going to test some articulation from these hills here and see exactly what this is capable of in this off-road situation. He said it was going to disable my downhill descent control, but no, it's still on. But here we go. We're going to go over some moguls, which here they are symmetrical, so I'm not getting any real articulation. Basically, I'm showing breakover, but what I see ahead of me is some pretty heavy articulation. So very interested to see exactly how this handles it. It's testing out that 8.5 inches of ground clearance, and yeah, oh boy, here we go. I feel, yeah, it's picking up some tires, but again, it is keeping traction going with the H-Trac all-wheel drive and with those Continental cross-contact tires. Yeah, this is not a body on frame by any means. I do feel it lifting a wheel here and there, but it is showing exactly how capable this vehicle is. You can hear it. That's downhill descent control working. That isn't me. So very impressed at what this is able to do, even though they warned me that sand mode would disable downhill descent control. Now we're going to get some kind of twist stitch articulation here. We're going to go driver, and then we're going to switch to passenger, which could lock us up. But again, going downhill, gravity is my friend here. Downhill descent control is really doing all the work for me. Overall, pretty impressive. Now we've got some rocks here. Now, I do not know, I don't believe we've aired down, so a little bit of a puncture potential here, but they said nice and slow over the rocks. Again, this is kind of showing where that camera system comes in handy, where I can see exactly where I'm going tire placement wise and avoid some of the big stuff as we move forward, going over this rocky terrain here. I will say though, it makes me a little worried that we don't have any underbody protection given just how jagged some of those rocks were, and the fact that it was kind of fighting me with that downhill descent control. If the button weren't so far away, I probably would have turned it off. So that about does it for my time here in the 2026 Hyundai Palisade XRT Pro, the first Hyundai vehicle to wear that moniker, and I suspect not the last one. The XRT Pro really is setting a new level of off-road features and amenities and comfort for the Hyundai brand. This being their flagship in the Palisade, they really wanted to show off exactly what engineers could do. I will say I was on a pre-prescribed course from Hyundai, but I was very impressed with the overall capability. This is going to be more than most crossover shoppers are going to need, and I suspect most buyers of this vehicle are really never going to do anything more than the gravel type road that I am on currently. And yes, it handles that quite well. The ride is supremely good here on this gravel pavement, even in XRT Pro. So I like it a lot. If you want to see more from us here on the channel, be sure and hit that subscribe button down below and ring the bell so you are notified every time future videos drop. Find us on all social media channels: Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, Threads, YouTube, you name it. Everything is at GT Garage Talk, or you can go to gtgaragetalk.com. But as for me, in the 2026 Hyundai Palisade XRT Pro, until next time, gearheads. Bye. This one's good. I mean, if you want to explore the vineyards, get you an XRT Pro Palisade. Cameras.